Initially, the next day, it was, again, the fire department did not have water, so they had Rescue One trucks. They brought in their marine boats and parked them in on the Hudson River. They ran water pumps from the marine boat onto the street, and they needed assistance with anybody that could help to run hoses from the Hudson River into the site. They had about 4 marine boats out there, all parked, and it was like, help with the hoses. Okay, so we went and helped with the hoses. We had a lot of labor down there. It was total chaos. Nobody knew anybody. We didn't know if you were working for me or I was working for you. It was just like, hey, can I help? Yeah, grab those hoses, help the fire department get those hoses up to the street. And these were people like you are now, sitting here in civilian clothes. These were not all construction workers. Don't want to get that straight right now. These were people that worked in the buildings. These were financial people, stockbrokers, people that hadn't left the night before and gone home because they wanted to stay and help do whatever they could. And later on, that became a little chaotic because I'll get into that later. But slowly it progressed to where we had a meeting with Mayor Giuliani at the time and the DDC, Ken Holden, who was the head executive of the Department of Design and Construction. And we decided to make our war room, kindergarten room at the IS 89 school, which is on West Street. So they invited a few people there. Jim Abity and myself were there. There were 3 other major contractors that were invited to the meeting. One of them was Tishman, one of them was Amec, the other one was Tully Construction, who was a heavy construction guy, and by that I mean they do all highway work. These guys dig up roads, they do whatever they gotta do. They were actually working at the landfill in Staten Island at the time, renovating that, making that a park. So these are contractors that all have the ability to bring in major pieces of equipment and machinery with a phone call. It was decided that at that meeting that we had the 4 major contractors, we would break the site up into 4 quadrants. A week later, they produced a drawing showing the quadrants, where the delineation lines were. The problem with that was the firefighters needed access to the K9 stair in Tower 2. They wanted access to the K4 stair in Tower 1. These were the areas that they thought they would find the most people or find survivors still in staircases down below in the lower floors. They knew how to get into the main concourse, and it was a lot of knowledge I had from previously when I was a carpenter back in 1978. Through 85, I worked those trade centers as a carpenter. So I was bringing sheetrock into the buildings underground. I knew every elevator. I knew the stairwells. I had a very good knowledge of the workings and the way to get around underground there. So I think after sitting at the table with the 4 contractors, when we met every day at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we met every day again at 4:30 in the afternoon,